Hey Mena Warriors, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel where I share weekly videos with you all about menopause. Today is going to be an interesting one. I'm talking about cholesterol. It's something I've spoken about before in the past. We are conditioned into thinking that cholesterol is really bad for us. And I'm going to share a few peer-reviewed resources at the bottom too, because I understand, I can share what I've studied and researched and found, but you probably need to read it from other sources too, just to really understand the complexity of it and understand that what we're being told about cholesterol isn't necessarily supporting us through our menopause. I'm also going to go over other foods that you can avoid or that you should avoid, and also foods that you really want to be eating more of during the menopause and your perimenopausal years, so that when you get to that sort of crucial stage, your periods have stopped for over a year. That marks the post-menopausal phase of your life, and you know how to best support yourself. So it's pretty normal that as we go through our perimenopausal years, you start to realize that the things that you used to do are no longer working. You're probably putting weight on around your middle. You might find that your legs are getting skinny. Your bum is losing all of its definition and its curviness. Essentially, cortisol, one of our adrenal hormones, has quite a large part to play, which is where this will tie into cholesterol as well. Cortisol has a really atrophying effect on our bones and our muscles as we go through the menopause. So the large muscles it tends to make a big impact on. So things like our quads, our glutes. So they tend to get smaller, and you'll see a lot of middle-aged women. They'll have quite skinny legs, and then they'll be quite round on top. Unfortunately, pretty much it's the only thing that goes northwards as we get older, is the fat from our legs and our bums tends to get deposited around our middles instead. One of the reasons for that is we have 4 times the amount of cortisol receptors around our belly as we do anywhere else in the body. So managing our stress is an incredibly important part of a healthy journey through the menopause. We can't necessarily reduce our stress, because this day and age, I mean, there's stress everywhere, but we can certainly work on how we manage our stress more effectively. And I'll sort of discuss that towards the end as well. It's the common sense stuff. But I really want to sort of explain a bit about the cholesterol link, because I think that we are so conditioned and brainwashed pretty much to think. There are 2 types of LDL, by the way. There is the bad type and there's the good type. And I'm going to just go over that a little bit too, because I really want you to understand the importance of cholesterol as you're going through the menopause. So cholesterol is the precursor of all our hormones in the body, your androgens, your estrogens, your stress hormones. Everything derives from cortisol. We also need cortisol in order to create things like our vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin E. Cholesterol is the foundation of that. Our cells in our bodies create over 75% of the cholesterol. So we only get around 25% of cholesterol from our food. And I'm somebody I have always eaten a lot of healthy fats. I eat grass-fed butter. I eat cheese in moderation. But you might be thinking, yeah, but I eat olive oil. I eat avocados. I eat coconut oil. That doesn't contain cholesterol. Cholesterol only comes from animal products. So, obviously organs, which I'm not a great fan of eating organs. I know some people are. Seafood contains quite a lot of cholesterol. Egg yolks. What's the most obvious one? And it's just, I mean, things like butter, cream. I have never ever had low fat. I don't go for low fat varieties at all. Often if you're choosing something low fat, for a start off, it's probably got sugar in it or hidden sugars. It might not say sugar on the label, but I bet it's got hidden sugars in there just under a fancy name. So if it is, I mean, I grew up in the fat-free era, and instead of putting fat in the foods, they just substituted it with sugar because it still had to be edible. But the great thing about fat, it keeps you fuller for longer. I have always eaten a plentiful fat diet. I eat plenty of fats. I don't restrict my fats at all. If I have a pork chop and I can't stand wobbly fat, but if it's, frazzled fat or bacon with frazzled fat on it, I eat it. I've never not. I mean, I swear by the adaptogen herbs helping me through my menopause, But it could also well be down to the fact that my cholesterol levels, I eat enough fat to support a healthy journey through the menopause. So I just want to sort of go over that with you in more detail. So like I said, cholesterol is the precursor for all of our hormones in our bodies. I want to sort of go into the statin side of things quickly too, because you probably know of people who have had statins. I do. You may have even been on statins yourself. That actually blocks the uptake of the molecule CoQ10. Most of us have heard of that, especially as we're getting older. It's one of those things we look into in great detail. That is one of the reasons why you get more muscle aches and pains and joint pains as you're going through as you have statins. Also, you'll find that people who take statins have had a higher incidence of cancer. People with higher cholesterol tend to have a lower incidence of cancer. Now, that could be also down to the fact that with the right amount of cholesterol in your body, you are creating enough vitamin D, which also has vitamin D is such an important vitamin that we all need. That's why just get outside every day if you can. But if you're not, if you don't manage to get enough ultraviolet light on your skin, consider a vitamin D supplement. Most of us in sort of the northern hemisphere do have a tendency to be deficient in vitamin D. It has a cumulative effect in the body. So over the summer months, as you go into autumn, you're going to carry some of those reserves of vitamin D. But as you go through the winter months, particularly if it's a long winter and a poor weather spring, it's likely that your vitamin D level is going to be low. So do consider supplementing with a vitamin D tablet if you feel that or a spray if you feel that you need to. Statins are obviously designed to reduce our cholesterol. Now, I want to explain a little bit about the LDL, because there's the good one and there is the bad LDL. So you've got the bad LDL. It's called the SD, so small dense LDL stroke P particle. Don't worry about the P bit at the end, doesn't really matter. It's not relevant to this conversation. The small dense LDL is the bad LDL. And you find that with a lot of diabetics, people who eat a high carb, as in refined sugars diet. Carbs are not bad for you. Veggies and fruits are carbs. We need veggies and fruits. What we don't need is the cookies, the cakes, the biscuits, the refined rubbish that you find in the packets that are highly addictive, that are so hard to eat just one of. Those are the things that are going to be contributing to your bad LDL. Your good LDL is the LB LDL, so large buoyant LDL. And that is, you see more of that with people who eat higher fat diets. And that is a healthy type of LDL. It's a benign type of LDL. It's neither one nor the other. Important that you know that the L bit of the HDL, the LDL, it's called lipoprotein. That is not cholesterol. It's a fat protein combination that transports cholesterol. So the LDL transports cholesterol from the liver to the tissues, and the HDL transports cholesterol from the tissues back to the liver. That's mainly the difference of it. Okay, so now you've got an understanding of the importance of cholesterol. How can you eat for a healthy menopause? One thing I would suggest you do is track your food just for a couple of weeks, because it gives you a really good indication of what foods work for you. We are all different. We all have different sort of propensity to create energy. We all have different ways of thinking, and our thoughts control so much of how we sort of express ourselves in life, and also how we manage stress more effectively as well. But things that you can do to help you are, obviously, like I said, I eat not necessarily a high fat diet, but I eat plenty of healthy fats. When you can incorporate fermented foods as well into your diet, that's going to be beneficial, because that helps your gut health. Gut health is very, very valuable for our brain health. There's a lot of good quality cheeses. Obviously, they're going to contain cholesterol, but they're also going to be good for your gut health. Kombucha is something that I drink a lot of. I make my own at home. I recently have gone pretty much teetotal, and so I find a glass of kombucha in the evening is like my little treat at the end of the day, rather than having a beer or a wine or both. And I still do drink, but just I try and cut it down to just being sociable, because booze, it will make you gain weight. It it spikes your insulin. Insulin is our fat storing hormone, and as our cortisol levels rise, so estrogen levels fall, cortisol levels rise. As your insulin levels rise, you store more fat. It is a risk factor for diabetes. It's a stressor to your body. So then you're still stressing these adrenal hormones. So the adrenal glands literally are there to do the backup of the ovaries when your ovaries go into retirement. Your ovaries stop producing sex hormones and your adrenal glands are there to back up that job. They're already quite tired because we're already quite stressed. We don't live lives that are particularly healthy for us. So things that you can do is eat plenty of cruciferous vegetables. They are going to help you get rid of excess estrogen. And you might think, but don't I want to keep my estrogen levels? Well, as we go through the menopause, our estrogen levels fall, our progesterone levels fall, our testosterone levels fall, but the progesterone and testosterone fall a lot faster than the estrogen. So we're left with this estrogen dominance. So while, yes, we do want to keep our sex hormones in our body, we want to have them in a fairly balanced fashion. And so by eating a lot of cruciferous vegetables, I can't talk today, my words just won't come out. So by eating a lot of cruciferous veggies, you are going to help get rid of some of that excess estrogen that is not doing you any favors in your body. Healthy fats. If you are vegan, this is a dilemma that you're going to have to deal with. While I was doing the research for this, I found a lot of people who have since become non-vegan, and they've noticed it's really improved their symptoms of the menopause. And in fact, actually, if you are vegan and listening to this, I'd be really interested to know. And I don't want any of the food turf wars. We all have our reasons for eating different types of things. This isn't a platform for food terrorism, but I'd be really interested to hear if you have had, what your experience of the menopause has been as a vegan eater, or a vegan lifestyle, because then it would provide hope to other vegans if you're managing to do it fairly successfully. It would also be interesting to know how many sugars and refined carbs you eat if you are a vegan eater, because it's not just one aspect, and we are all so different. And but I would be very interested to hear. And also, if you have been vegan and then stopped being vegan, has that improved your journey through the menopause? It's very important that we are aware of the risks that are associated with going through the menopause, like the lack of falling bone density, our muscle atrophying, the anxiety. In actual fact, just going back to statins, there's this thing called transient brain, I can't remember the word of it now. Basically, it's serious brain fog. And if you've got brain fog on the menopause and you've got your statins, that is going to make your brain fog really, really bad. Make sure that you're eating plenty of soy products which have natural phytoestrogens, so plant estrogens, things like tempeh, tofu, flax seeds, edamame, that sort of thing. Fatty fish, cheese. Fish is great. Fish is brilliant all round. It's a good source of all sorts of fatty acids. Again, there's a lot of information out there saying we need more omega-3s and omega-6s, but they all have an important role. Do your research on these sorts of things before you take it for granted. And boron. So boron, if you eat dates as a snack, I'm going to come into snacking in a minute and how often to eat. Boron is an essential mineral, and we get quite a lot of it from dates and prunes. And that will help you maintain your bone density as well going through the menopause. We don't need much boron either to help sort of counter the risk of osteoporosis. Dates are something I always have on the go. If I feel like a snack, if I feel like something sweet, I eat a date. It's just like nature's toffee, and it's much, much healthier than going to the biscuit barrel or the cookie jar or whatever it might be. Make sure that you're doing regular exercise. Strength training is an absolute necessity as you get older. If you want to live a healthier latter age, make sure you stay hydrated. A lot of us are thirsty when we think we're hungry, and just staying hydrated is incredibly important to us. So just going back and so just touching on the frequency of eating as well, because you will see a lot of articles that say keep grazing through the menopause, you know, so your blood sugars don't dip. But the problem is, if you keep grazing, your insulin levels, whenever you eat, your insulin levels are spiked. Insulin contributes to fat retention. It's our fat storing hormone. So we don't want to be doing that. Now, again, we are all different. You might find that you have to graze. It might just be one of those things that you just feel awful if you don't. In that case, keep grazing because it's obviously suiting you. If you're grazing and you're putting on a heck of a lot of weight, okay, right, we need to have a chat and we need to discuss something because there's something that is triggering that need to graze. For the majority of women, particularly sort of over the age of 50, something like intermittent fasting is going to be really beneficial for you, because it's going to give your body, your digestive system, time to completely relax. It'll give your hormones time to settle down. And we don't actually often need to eat as much as we think we do. I eat plentifully. I love my food, but it's healthy food. And I tend to eat it in 2 batches. So I have like a brunch and then I have my evening meal. So consider intermittent fasting. I eat during an 8-hour period and then I don't tend to eat during the 16 hours. And you have to find what works best for you. Some people, if your last meal is at 7 p.m. and you don't eat until 7 a.m. the next morning, that's still a 12-hour fast. That's still really good. You know, you're not going to bed snacking before you go to bed, and then you're not waking up and immediately eating. But again, you might find that you need to eat as soon as you wake up. You have to find what works best for you, and is what you are doing helping you achieve your goals. If it's not, then that's when I would say, okay, let's take a look at what you're doing to see if we can help you get to achieve your goals in a way that enables you to feel satiated and energized and happy and to not have clouded thinking. I know when I'm hungry, and even worse if I'm thirsty, my brain just basically shuts down. So just in summary, cholesterol is not bad for you. It is absolutely vital. Only 25% of your cholesterol comes from food. So animal products are the way to get cholesterol. It doesn't come from plant food sources at all. And things like dates and prunes are very healthy snacks. They contain boron, high fiber. Yes, they do contain natural sugars, but as long as you're not snacking on them consistently throughout the day, you're going to be good. You have to work out what is best for you. And if you want to chat, I'm more than happy to give you my 2 cents worth of what you might find works best for you. I work with a lot of ladies, and so we're constantly finding ways to sort of find solutions for different needs, different body types, different lifestyles, different hormonal balances, etc., etc. But just know that there is so much that you can do. And when you support your adrenal health, your menopause symptoms are going to reduce significantly. Really want you to understand how important your adrenal health is to how you navigate the menopause. So I hope that was helpful. Again, please, drop below in the comments if you found that anything's worked specifically for you. Do you do intermittent fasting? The other option is to do, I've tried this and I find it hard, 5 days of feeding and then 2 days not, with just a small meal at the end of the day. That for me is really, really hard going. Like I said, I really like my food, and I have never had HRT. I don't have anything against HRT, but I do eat plenty of fats. I do eat animal products. I love vegan meals as well. I eat 2 or 3 of them at least during the weeks. I feel great on them, but I also feel great when I eat meat products. I've tried the vegan, and I've tried well, obviously omnivorous, but for me, omnivorous is the way to go. It's the refined carbs that you want to be cutting out. And watch your booze and intake and your caffeine intake as well, because that is not going to do your adrenals any good. If you can go, and I wouldn't go for a decaf option because often they're ultra processed too. I would find a herbal option. Teacino, so TEECCINO, is a herbal coffee. I've tried it before. It's lovely. That is completely herbal. It's not decaf. It's just a complete herbal alternative to coffee. And then there's loads of different herbal tea options out there. So I would look at that if you're struggling with your menopause. Go caffeine free, watch what booze you're drinking if you do drink booze, and cut out your refined things and processed foods as well. I'm surprised I didn't remember that one earlier, but they're just full of chemicals and they're designed to keep you addicted and coming back for more, which is going to increase your stress, which is going to increase your belly fat, which is going to increase your cortisol, insulin levels, which is going to gobble up your muscles and your bone tissue, etc., etc. Maybe if you have to have it as an occasional treat, but I don't really agree with this. There's a big philosophy out there of, you know, you should be able to have what you want and enjoy your life. Yeah, it's entirely up to you. You enjoy your version of enjoying your life will have a different version perhaps to how it is to me. I want energy and vitality. I want to feel like I'm really living my life. If I die later today, I know that I've given it my best and I won't have any regrets. And that is all tied into leading a very energized, strong, and functional way. Yeah, it's everybody to their own. So anyhow, I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope it's explained a few maybe misnomers around cholesterol, and I will drop some links below so that you can go off and just sort of do your own research too, just so that you can, you know, have that confidence that cholesterol is not the baddie that it's made out to be.